Get him done.
Get that giant mitt out of there.
Did you see that? It's
We're
like
on.
a shaved Chewbacca wrist.
It's not shaved.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Sir.
Okay. Here we go.
Welcome back to the 101, the Small Business and Entrepreneur Show in Columbus. I'm Michael Morris. You know, I realize I'm going to introduce my co-host, as always, Madison Gillespie. And I realize I don't think I ever say that who I am,
No, you don't.
because that's the kind of guy I am.
You are. You're very
I'm a
selfless.
behind-the-scenes guy. Yeah. It's all about other
Totally.
people. But I realize if we start the show, I never introduce myself. So that's
No.
going to be it for the quarter. Not
What
gonna
about
do
last week? I was here. Nobody showed up.
Well, we have the same thing this week.
Okay.
We had somebody, and they just no.
No.
So it's
Madison
okay.
showed up and the door was locked last week.
That's
Yeah.
right. Oh,
That's what happened.
sorry, bro.
well.
So you heard Juan Thomas on the separate mic. Andrew is not here once again.
Yeah, where is he?
I think he also signed with the Lakers.
He
It's
did,
been,
yes.
it's been a big couple weeks lately.
That was the only way to get LeBron. Andrew's got to come.
Yeah. Now, I almost deleted my Facebook account last week, not because they're spying on us or sharing our information, but your posts about LeBron James are a bit much.
I'm excited.
I'm following you for
I
a
am
business
so
reason because we're
excited.
friends,
No,
and
you're
you're
not.
talking. No, we're not friends.
No, we're not.
But why are
friends.
you talking about him? Juan, you have something?
Did you hear the latest rumor?
What's that?
Magic Johnson is going to suit up as player coach.
He should.
I'm kidding,
He
I'm
should.
kidding.
Actually, they talked about Kobe coming
Then-
back.
I think then Madison's head would explode.
Yeah.
I can't wait to. There was no jersey burning that I saw this time. When he went to Miami before, there was a jersey burning.
Yeah.
And you know what I
think
thought
they
of
know better now.
immediately?
What?
Was why does the NBA care? Because merchandise is going to fly off the shelves.
It's
Right?
insane. It's him going to LA. I've been tracking it for 2 years, and when I got the news, I can't even tell you how happy I was.
No, I know because I kept reading it.
Did
And I
you?
kept
Well, I've been the
commenting on it.
biggest LeBron critic for the last 15
That
years.
also was on there.
And then as soon as he signs with the Lakers, I'm like, LeBron is the
Yeah.
GOAT. He's the greatest ever.
That's the greatest guy.
And everybody's like,
ever.
you're a hypocrite. I'm like, I'm totally a hypocrite. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't I be?
Well, they
Yeah.
should know if they listen to the show. You have no moral
I
backbone.
don't.
You
Isn't that why
fold
you
like
had
a
me
deck chair.
on here? I thought that's why you had me on here.
No, I have you on here because when Andrew shows up once in a while, I need you to tap him to tell him to come to the microphone.
Yeah, he does kind of wander off.
Yeah, well, in place of Andrew not being here and our guest, because I had plenty of notes, I was all excited.
I know.
We'll get him
Yeah.
eventually.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think when the sun's out, we can't get guests. And they yeah, I'll be there. And then when it's 30 degrees, it's like, I'll stay here all day.
Yeah, I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, we'll just air a replay. But this week, I thought what would be good is something came up during the week about a client that I'm bringing on board to you that didn't have a website. And we were kind of talking about the importance of the IT program and having an emphasis there. One of the things that I've noticed is last week, I think I wrote 10 to 15 different commercials for different people. And what somebody said something really smart to me when we were recording it. He said, either pick the phone number or pick the website. Because if you're driving, you might remember a website. You're not going to write down 594 or whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe before cell phones, I used to be able to remember
Right.
numbers.
But when you look at billboards as well, why do I need the phone number if I've got your website? Meanwhile, we might all know that. And 3 people we talked about last week do not even have a website. They have a Facebook or something like that, but there's no way to get direct access to those people. Can you kind of speak to that? Because you've worked with Ping, who has been on this show, who's a good friend of ours.
Yep.
Just speak to how important that was to fix one of her multitude of problems with that site.
Yeah, actually, it was the day that we met with her just to sit down and talk about what we could do for her from an IT perspective. And as we're sitting there, she goes, well, my website currently right now is down. And I go, well, what's your biggest lead source? If somebody's looking you up online, I go, are they filling out information on your website? And is that how you're getting their information? And she's like, yeah, that's exactly how we're doing it. And I go, well, one day of your website being down could mean 2 or 3 missed patients. And she's like, no, you're exactly right. So in that moment, our IT guy, as we're sitting there, gets online and fixes the website in about a half an hour and got it back up and running. But the problem was she made an agreement with a website company that came in and built out the whole website, but then nobody could maintain it for her.
Right.
It was just like, we'll build it for thousands of dollars. And then she got
They're
stuck
being
in
polite about that.
yeah. She got ripped
This one
off.
cable is going to cost you about $200.
It's crazy.
You can get it at Best Buy for $2. Yeah.
Right. Little high. But yeah, I think the website gets a little confusing nowadays because there's so much opportunity with social media. You know, like if you have an Instagram page, you have a Facebook page, you have LinkedIn, you have all these different platforms that I think business owners question how important that website is. And I always try to emphasize, I mean, that's your business card nowadays.
Right.
I mean, your website is what people go to. I mean, Google's the most searched engine in the world, and
Next
if you're
to
not,
Bing,
next
sure.
to Bing, right?
Because who doesn't go Bing that?
Yeah, right. All the time. Yeah. So if you're not relevant online, you could be missing half your client base, if not more.
Well, I think when you're saying that, like when I look at a website, I look at that as your phone book.
Mm-hmm.
That's your phone book ad, but that is your specific domain. And I look at LinkedIn, Instagram, even MySpace, whatever it is, that is your business card. So I agree with where you're saying that. One of the things that I think is confusing to people is they think all they need is a website.
Right.
If you want to do commerce, if you want to book guests or patients, that's an important thing to have because not everybody wants to make a phone call.
Sure.
We're in a very one-click, like Amazon, very one-click society. I want it as easy and fast as possible, and we're cutting out people.
Yep.
So when we're doing that, you're also trusting people to fix that for you. And again, one of the people that we had on the show a few weeks ago, I'm not going to name her by name. She's probably not watching, but she doesn't even have a website. So she has a cell phone number, and I thought, if everybody called them, let's say we're running a campaign and everybody calls them, you can't keep up with them. What you want is for them to go to the website, here's what I offer, so if they do call you, they know exactly what they want, so they can tell you ahead of time, you can book that. But also book appointments online.
Right.
And we're talking about the difference of most of these websites, what would be the highest cost for like a patient portal? That's what I would call it, a patient portal or like an online registration. It can't be more than $800 to $1,200 a month.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely. It just depends on what kind of functionality it has, but yeah, it's right in that ballpark. I mean, I think that's what scares a lot of people is they don't know enough about the website, so actually building one out kind of is one of the last things they do. Now, not everybody. Some people, that's one of the first things they do. But I look at a website as a way that, to your point, before you actually have a conversation with them, they know what you are all about.
Right.
And really, what other way can you find that out other than a website?
Well, I've got a question for you when you're going in and your job is to consult and to fix problems. So if you're going in and talking to somebody about their website, do you get this reaction where you're like, oh, you're paying way too much and now you're the bad guy? I used to get this all the time. They would be mad that I told them that you had a bad deal. And then they would kind of like, why didn't you tell me this before? Well, I just met you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're telling someone you spent $20,000 that you didn't have to, whether it's 6 months or a year or whatever, when you are telling someone that, it seems like you're the deliverer of bad news, and so the heat's on you.
Right.
That just happened to you, right?
Yeah, it did. I mean, luckily the client didn't put the heat on me from. It's weird because there's some websites that you can do for $1,200 that are basic information, basic functionality. Anytime you get into something over $20,000, there should be some red flags, especially for a small business.
Right.
Unless you're, like you said, an e-commerce website where you're selling hundreds of products a day, then yeah, it probably makes more sense to have a higher end website that can handle that.
And you're expecting to handle a lot of traffic.
For sure.
Like over and over versus from 8 to 5 we're going to be busy.
Well, an e-commerce website is going to be way different than a dental website. Right. There's just no comparison. Two different platforms because the dentist website is just getting a patient to fill out the form to get in your chair, where you could have 25 transactions in an hour on an e-commerce website. Right. And so it's not outlandish to spend over $20,000 on a website if it's what your business is based around. If your website is your number one resource, then yeah. But for the most part, it's just a landing page for people to learn about you, and you don't need to go and spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 if you're just using it as a resource, like you said, like the Yellow Pages, right? Like it's kind of the modern day Yellow Pages,
right,
for the most part.
Well, the thing that I think is great about it is if you look at the yellow pages, I mean, if you try to find one in an office now, typically there's like somebody put their monitor on top of it, so it's a little higher. They're not using it for what it's used for.
Right.
But the yellow pages used to be, it was like the Sears catalog was huge. And now, when it gets delivered, it might be 70 pages.
Right. I mean, who's actually picking up a yellow page? Just, let me find this number.
Well, you said this before we went on the air. I don't even think you know my phone number.
No.
You just get in your phone and then, hey, Siri.
I know your social security number.
Yeah, but that's completely different. I keep posting that everywhere. I'm like, steal my identity.
Quit it out. Stop doing that.
But when I see somebody's website and it's so intricate, there's a client we have that he's got an 80-page website. 80 pages. And so
It's a small novel.
Yeah. But every page can't be that important, but who's going to go through it? The average person, when they go to your landing page, stays less than 6 seconds. You have to capture their attention or they're out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So if what I'm looking for isn't on the first page or even second page, I'm out.
Yep.
So the answer that this website company gave us, because the traffic organically was going really high, but they wanted more money. So their thing was, we'll add more pages. More content doesn't mean better content. More content just means more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the whole SEO part of it is building content within the site that matches up with what Google wants so that you organically come up higher, right? But the problem with that is if you have so much content that the website's not really functional or not as simple as it should be for people to just go on and learn about you, are you really doing yourself a service? Like 80 pages is insane.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, 80 pages, and then we'll add another 80. Like,
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No one's reading the first 5.
Yeah.
Let's keep adding.
What we did is we built out a website right from the get-go, right when we started. Nothing special, but just something that made us... I mean, there is a sense of when you have a website of credibility, right? Like you've taken that step to solidify your business as something that people can go online and view. So we just built a basic website out, and then as we've grown, we're in the process of actually redoing ours because we're there. Like now it's an opportunity for us to do it exactly how we want to do it. But then again, it's just an information page. This is what we do, this is how we do it, here's some testimonials, and here's a way that you can reach out to us.
Well, again, it is credibility. If you've got a website, and I'm saying this from a person that does not have a website.
Right.
But our situation is different. Like,
of course it is.
What I'm saying is we are not in a business where we want to be found by everybody. Like we want to find the people,
right?
Either word of mouth or if you just get a bunch of phone calls, then it becomes, well, how do you do this differently than this person? We're not trying to get in a cattle call situation.
Right.
In your situation, people need your service. Like there's not anybody that doesn't need what Lincoln Wallace does. In mine, there are people that do not need to buy billboards. There are people that do not need to go on TV. We get that. But just to have people call you, like a landscaping company, and say, well, what are your rates for this and this and this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't really fully make sense for you.
So stop trying to sell me a website.
Sorry, bro.
But what I do think is important is, again, every time we come across one of these situations with an IT issue or a website issue, you're the first person that I call.
Thank you.
Well, I just
Warms
don't know a
my
lot of
heart.
other people. No, I'm kidding. But
you don't have any other reason.
No, but I like the structure of how you work with clients specifically, but also how your company is dealing with this stuff. So it's more I trust them in your hands, and I don't have to. I can't stand when I'm like, here's the person I want you to meet and do business with, but let me hold your hand the entire time.
Right.
Like I want to hand it off and say, there you go, Madison. That's your problem.
Right.
I mean, that's your client.
Right. That's your problem.
Yeah.
The website, everything that you do, like from what you do with an advertising and the radio and the TV stuff that you do in this radio show, the website's just an additional piece to that. Like if you're sending people to, like you said earlier, do you send them with a phone number? Do you send the website? What's the most important? And I don't know if there really is a right answer to that because everybody's
that's
different.
The weird part. There isn't. If you are, this is the other piece I would add to this. If you have a website, I think you need to be able to track your visits, duration, all that. I think that's an important part.
Mm-hmm.
That's a step a lot of companies don't even offer. So, for instance, the lawyer we're talking about, his organic traffic every month is between 27 and 41% higher than previous year. Okay? We know there's growth there. if the website company's not doing anything different, we know what's happening.
Right.
They're either seeing a billboard or seeing them on TV or radio, whatever. But the concern I have is you're still on the hook to this website company. You need to cut it back, right? So you're not trying to just spend money to have it out there. The issue became phone calls. When every spot in the billboard has the website, we're not telling you to call. And it's just something in 20 years of doing this that I realized that probably the first 10 years of it wasn't that big a deal. Like having a really nice website was not a big deal.
No.
Now everybody's building it out, but I think there's such a focus on the digital aspect. You know, there are these social media, what do they call them, influencers?
Yeah.
Social influencers,
Something like
which are just like stay-at-home people that like
take a selfie holding up a product.
right. Like I see one person is at 5 different places in a day, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, you're getting paid by every month to just keep showing your face, or here's the new product.
Right.
But at the end of the day, all I'm seeing is you. I'm not really seeing the doctor, the dentist, the lawyer, whatever. But there's a lot of those out there, and it's the money that's going to that is being taken from somewhere. It has to come out of your media budget or your website budget, right?
Right.
But social media is a big deal, so you got to get followers.
Well, social media is product is specific. Like if you have a protein powder that you're wanting to promote, just a common thing in the fitness world, you hold up what the product is, you take a picture, and if you have 40,000 followers, then normally you get that stuff for free to promote their product.
Right.
You're probably not going to do that with a like a benefit solutions company.
I probably would.
Right.
I would try to give away some benefit solutions powder.
I mean, you could. It'd be kind of weird, you know. So like social media, that platform for some of that stuff, it totally works. But then again, if somebody's just holding up your product and taking a picture, how can you really track what that's done?
Right. Well, there's
Like,
no
there's no
return on investment.
No.
And one of the things that being in media, how many times did you say to someone, "We're going to show you this campaign at the end. We're going to show you the ROI." And meanwhile, the salesperson that's saying that does not even know how to show you that because no one asked that question.
I would always ask that on sales calls.
Well, you're a liar.
I'm not.
I just mean right now.
No, but
I
it was
mean-
my accountability piece. Like, what is a new client worth to you? What's the ROI you need for this campaign to be successful?
Right.
Because if you're spending $5,000 a month and you're only bringing in $4,000 in patients or whatever your business
You're
is,
doing well.
yeah, right. You're negative 1,000, which is perfect.
Keep signing up. No, but when people ask me how I measure an ROI, I take whatever you're spending times 3 or 3.5. So if you're doing that, if you're spending $4,000 a month, you're not going to get it right away. So it takes that ramp up time. But if you are spending, what did I say, $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month?
Sure.
Let's do it because the math's easier. Yeah. So by the time that you're 4 months in, you've spent $16,000, right? But whatever your product is, if you get, let's say in that 4 months, you get 80 new patients and an average revenue of $500, that's the way you can measure it.
Right.
I only learned that because when I was looking at it, a lot of people will say, well, my campaigns aren't working, so they'll stop. You can't stop. You can minimize it, or you can kind of, you can put it all in one area and just really hit that really hard. So no matter how much money you're spending, you can still dominate the space you're in,
For sure.
but you have to set up that expectation before. Because now, I've told you what the return should be, but you've got to track that. If it's not working, is it the phone's not ringing? Is it people are not paying their bill? What is it?
I mean,
You can investigate that ROI.
For sure. I mean, I would always tell clients it's not my job to close a new patient for you. It's my job to bring them to you. And if you have somebody that's sitting at the front desk that is not good at getting a new patient in there, no matter what industry you're in, you can't be held accountable for closing that deal, right? You can only bring them those people. And so it was really important for me, like if I got you 20 phone calls, but you only converted 5 of them, then there's another variable in your business that's off. You know, because there's so many factors that affect you getting new clients.
Right. Well, I think a perfect example is Rachel and I were working on something, and we get this email from a client that says, like, they're trying to push one specific product. Because this one specific product is where if they could close, say, 10 of these a month, they're going to have their own island in the tropics, right? So that's what they're looking at. And everyone else in the same field wants to push it. So as I'm asking him kind of back and forth, like, fill me in, I'm not really sure what you're saying. The phone's not ringing or people aren't coming. And his answer was, they're calling, but they're price shopping this one thing. So they are calling. So I said, well, tell me, what are your numbers? And he said, well, we're up 30% from where we were last year. So when I do the math, you're up $300,000.
Not a bad,
Right?
not a bad deal.
So when you take what he was spending, he's up 4.5 times his investment. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be clear about what the ROI is. Is it on a certain product? I can't close the product for
Right.
you. I can just tell people that you have the product.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is not about what we do. This is about setting the expectation. So I always say 3 just to be on the safe side. But we just had somebody that we got rid of as a client because they said they can't take any more business, so they want to cancel. They want to stop advertising because they can't take any more business. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing. Is if you can't take any more business, that means you're making money.
Right.
So there's a window company in town that they used to start with a 6 to 8 week window.
That was pretty funny.
I didn't mean to say that. That was punny.
You're so clever.
But they would have a 6 to 8 week window. Well, you know what they did? Instead of turning people away, they said, we'll get to you in a 10 to 14 week area. I almost said window. I couldn't think of another name. But when that happened, people didn't walk away. They just said, oh, he must be really good. He must be the industry
because he's so
leader.
busy.
So we'll wait. People are getting their windows taken out in the winter time. In a blizzard, because that's got to be the best quality because I got to wait the longest.
That's right.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah. I could not think of another way to not say window.
I was hoping that was gonna be 4 windows.
Yeah.
Time frame.
Time frame.
There it
Thank
is.
you. I almost said patio. Jim, how are we on time? Okay, we're still good. So, again, that's just the way that we look at things and setting up an ROI. But again, you have to do the same thing, right?
Mhm.
You have to set up an expectation for a client. When we do this website, it's going to do X and X and X, right?
Right.
So kind of walk through, use Ping as an example. Hi Ping, you're probably not listening. You should be doing surgery on people's dental.
She waved.
Oh, she
hey,
waved.
Ping.
Hi Ping, thanks for watching.
Doctor.
Yes, she's a dental doctor.
Yeah, so the website with Ping. So Ping's in a unique situation where she has, she's doing the radio show. She's doing radio ads. She was doing some SEO and SEM online. But then she had a website that she couldn't really execute from. Like, it was, when it worked, it was great and it looked good. But then she was having all kinds of issues of people filling out paperwork and it just spinning. I actually had that issue.
You mean it was just timing out?
Yeah,
Nothing would
right. Nothing would happen. And so I asked her, what's a new client worth to you? And when she told me that, I go, so each client that can't get through to your website, that's, $3,000 for the life of that client, you could be losing $3,000 a day. So in her situation...
No, well, it's more than that. If
Well,
it's one per...
If
Say
it's
it's
one.
10 people.
Right. Then it'd be like $13.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you're really good at math. I don't think that
carried the
equaled
day
out.
on that one.
That was good. Do
Yeah.
you want some paper?
Could I? Yeah, no, exactly. You don't know how many people weren't getting through.
Right.
So I think that's...
And you'll never know, which is the really disappointing part because, again, when we started working with her on the Morris Media side, when we started working with her, it was, she'd been through these trials and tribulations, which she told us about on the show, where people would basically just rip her off for money and over-promise and under-delivered. And one of the issues I had was, where are these people going? Because if we're sending them to the website, and Rachel's the one that found out the website wasn't working, and
Yay, Rachel.
yeah, well, yay sports. But when she found that out, we had to immediately address it. That's when it was perfect timing because you were one phone call away. Well, you
Right.
were in Denver, but you called me back.
Yeah. 3 days later.
Yeah, you were in the state
Sorry
of
about
Denver,
that.
as your
State.
sister, Jennifer Glow Sticky, likes to say.
Go sticky.
Uh,
Yeah, well, the other thing is, what Ping was doing on the back end, she was spending money on SEO and SEM, but then not really tracking it or tweaking it to see where she could maximize or eliminate things in order to get better traffic or, because all that ties together. If you're not checking your Google Analytics, if you're not sitting down on a monthly basis tweaking stuff, you don't know how well a campaign's doing or how well the website's functioning in some of the aspects unless you're actually monthly going through that. And I think that's a lot of things that it can get confusing if you don't know a lot about Google, if you don't know a lot about the backend on the website. It's kind of the last thing you do, almost because it's the least you know about.
I would agree that. I think that, again, Google Analytics has become such an important piece because if you can see an increase in traffic, even if it's just people aren't calling you, but you see an increase in website traffic, that's where you know something's happening. Because whether it's on our side, the first thing we see is like a sales rep will go to the website, find the name, and call and say, hey, I'm really good friends with such and such. But we know patients are also doing that, or customers are doing that. But if you're not seeing that spike, then something's wrong. Right. That's the first indicator is everybody has a website. So if you're not tracking how many people are coming to it, like Facebook doesn't do you any good. We can look up Facebook all the time, but it doesn't give me a counter of how many people came to it.
Right.
Or your Instagram, right. You have like kind of ghost followers. What's the saying? The majority of the people who like your stuff are not your real fans. It's your haters that don't like your stuff, but they're always paying attention. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a direct Instagram quote.
It should be.
Yeah. Credit to Dr.
Hey, Jim,
Instagram.
write that down.
Yeah. Jim, write it down so that Madison can read it later. But no, I mean, that's one of the things that when I look at these pieces, it's so fractional in this digital world. They're not paying attention. They're paying attention to home base. It's everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on the verge of a millennial, but if you are trying to look something up or you hear something, one of the first things you're doing calling them or getting online and filling out a form if you want to see that?
Oh, definitely millennials are looking online.
They
don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's true. People are annoying.
Yeah. I have one of them. I've hired them, and she
That's
won't
why
talk
I
to
only
me.
text you.
Yeah.
Call me, I send it to voicemail.
Yeah, I like that you let it ring all the way through, and then you text me, I'll call you later, bruh. And I wait 5 to 6 hours, and I'm like, I forgot.
Did you just stare at your phone waiting for me?
Yeah, I didn't move. I just left it on the charger. I didn't want it to run out of battery.
You blocked everybody else but me.
Yeah. On that uptick of our friendship, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
So, I got this cool thing that I'm going with Ping next Wednesday. Have you ever heard of the physical web?
Heard of it.
So, when you walk into like if you go to Starbucks and you order something online, and it's that Starbucks that you go to, every time you pass Starbucks, right?
It's the thing with the QR code.
Yes. Like where they can actually send out, if you're in 300 yards, you can send push notifications to anybody that has an Android phone because it's automatically built in, but some of the apps on an iPhone will pull up those notifications automatically. So I was talking to somebody who's implementing this potentially at the zoo, where you walk into an exhibit.
And if you see a panda, it will give you a notice of a panda.
Well, think about for Payne. So she's right on Bridge Park. If I put a little sensor in her office, every time somebody walks by, drives by, is in the area, she gets push notifications. She sends out push notifications promoting her business. They show up right on their phone. They can click on it. There'll be a built-out like one sheet of what she does, what she offers. They can click on it and go straight to her website through the push notification. So even if somebody's driving by, they'll get a push notification.
You know who dominates
if
that?
they're driving their self-driving car.
Yeah, right.
AMC. If you're at because we go all the time.
Same.
You're at the mall. They'll let you know what the show times are, and
it will say.
Maybe give you a free popcorn if you come in and show your.
So if we go on a Monday, it will tell me Ant-Man and the Wasp is playing within 35 minutes of you're here right now. But then as we're leaving, I get one that says, don't forget this Friday, such and such is coming. And it's amazing.
Skyscraper, the new Dwayne Johnson movie starts this Friday.
But it's coming to my phone, so
that came on my phone the other day.
I didn't subscribe to it, right? It's just because I'm close to the area.
Yep. So, I mean, think about it if you walk into a mall and you get push notifications for all the different stores.
Well, do you know why they stopped? Because everybody
your phone would explode.
Codes. Well, that was the problem. Is you were walking by and you were getting ding, 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 and people kept reaching for their phone. But what's cool is so many people have quit. You have the advantage because everybody else opted out. If you opt in, now eventually it's going to catch up and other people are going to realize what you're doing and they're going to copy it. You can't really talk about that.
No.
You're going to hold that back, even though we just talked about it right there.
All right.
And Starbucks is getting rid of plastic straws. I just noticed your
2020.
Starbucks cups.
Well, I'm storing all the straws I can get for the next 2 years.
This is made out of Valerian steel from Game of Thrones.
Valerian steel.
And this is made from the backbone of a child.
So what are they going to have instead? They're going to have the
some
paper
biodegradable
ones.
Yeah.
I can't wait to put some recycled paper in my mouth.
Like Ted's Montana Grill, they've got those paper straws made out of recycled paper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It tastes great. Remember the pixie sticks?
They go well with
And you
the
would tear
spice
the
and
top
burgers.
off, and then you get the paper stuck in your mouth, and then you would die of a paper.
Do you remember the paper?
He doesn't remember Pixie Sticks.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
not
I
old
do.
enough.
You remember
You can look
paper?
it up on
I
YouTube.
remember pixie sticks.
Really? Oh my
It's
goodness.
like, oh yeah.
She's at raves with pixie sticks.
How about the little
Raves.
candy buttons on the paper? Do you remember those? Where you had to like
Oh, yeah.
peel the buttons off, and the half of it would still have paper on it. You
Yeah.
just ate it.
And
I
you
remember,
eat it
but I did
anyway?
not eat those.
Or the Cineburst, where you could chew the wrapper on the gum.
Ew.
Your family must have had money. I don't remember.
Or
Cinnabons
the
with
little
paper.
bubble
Only
gum
one
cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
I remember getting those on
Yeah.
Halloween.
They'd spend a lot of
My
money on
parents would
college.
say, "Don't smoke,"
And you're like,
while they were smoking.
right.
They smoked a half pack a day. My mother and father, they didn't smoke that much. They both gave it up.
It's good.
We all
Bad
do
stuff.
eventually.
But the candy cigarettes, yeah, I liked those when I was about 8 years old.
Yep.
Like, cool. I'm an
I'm
adult.
smoking.
I'm
Let's
smoking.
stick a filter on it. I don't get cancer.
Exactly. Came in a camel pack with Joe Camel smiling face on it.
That's right.
Smoke, kid, smoke.
I want to get into the tracking, or is there somewhere you want to go from here? I want you to talk about real world people you're dealing with.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get into.
We could just get into technology as a whole. How you can implement it.
Lord.
Let's get-
I don't know what's going on back there. When you're
I was struggling.
She's got her grill out. She's
American
making
Airlines over
kebabs
here is
okay.
like moving bags like the half hour.
Sir,
Don't
can
mind
you
us.
please move this bag?
Okay, let's talk about technology in general. I'll just kick it to you, and then you seem to have an idea. Of
Sure.
where we're gonna go. Okay. All right, Juan. Let's do it.
Ready to roll?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the 101.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we
I like
ready?
that.
I like that. Yeah.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the 101. Still sitting here with Madison because we have to.
I tried to leave.
Brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
Yes.
There we go.
There
Thanks,
we go.
Jim.
Hey, a little kicker for
Yeah,
you. You're
appreciate
going to get
it.
that 101 bump even though you're already here.
Yep.
We were talking about IT websites and the importance of that. But during the break, Madison, you said something about talking about technology in general. And just, I think there's so much to this. Because
Mhm.
I don't want to hammer websites to death because that's not the end-all, be-all. But we're in a era now where you were telling me about some technology that I'd heard of that was big about 8 years ago, and everybody stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But it's new again, right? So utilizing that for a client, we're not going to tell you what it is. I'm sorry, you have to call Madison directly if you want to know. But utilizing that is going to give this client an advantage. But just kind of address technology and how it's advancing everybody's campaigns and just their business in general.
Just from an accounting standpoint, if you go and log on to, let's say you're using QuickBooks Online, there's options within QuickBooks that shows all the preferred partners that QuickBooks has for apps. It's insane. There's hundreds of them. And a lot of people don't even think about how they can implement that newer technology into the way that they're doing business now. Some people just don't want to. It's too much work.
They don't have thumbs.
They don't have thumbs, which is awkward. Or they just don't know enough about it, so why switch to it?
Right.
There's a lot of things that you can automate now on multiple different platforms, not just accounting. There's things that you can use apps that directly go along with QuickBooks to speed up how you import expenses, how you manage your accounts payable, accounts receivable, how you pay certain bills. I mean, there's a lot of technology out there that I think most business owners it's almost like this all in or all out.
Right.
Like people really get it and they want to use it in every aspect of their business, or they're like, it just complicates things. My brother-in-law's company built themselves off their CMR was.
Tell people what CMR.
It's basically just a database of all your clients, right? Whether current, old, pending, and a lot of people use. I mean, Salesforce is a really popular one to kind of streamline all your accounts. We used one at my previous job called Matrix, where you could see their share growth year to year, month to month. But he was using just little cue cards, right? So almost like a Rolodex, and each one of them had a Rolodex at their desk, and they would sift through their clients through that. Now he created that back in 20, 25 years ago, still using it that way, but they've now switched to a different system that they can put all that in through the computer. And that might be like a really old school example, but there's things like that in other areas of people's businesses that we walk into and we see, and we give them other options, things that they can do. For example, Dropbox is a great example. When you have a bunch of files that are on a server that you can only access through logging into your computer, VPNing into that server, and then working from those files right there. We went into a business and we showed them how we could transfer all that onto a Dropbox system, which I don't know how much you know about Dropbox, but it's a filing
I know
system.
everything about
Okay,
Dropbox.
do you?
Yeah.
I saw that Dropbox tattoo on your arm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing a shirt that says Dropbox is my thing. I don't know why you asked that question.
Sorry. I don't even know
Stay focused.
Sorry. But yeah, so Dropbox was created as a cloud-based filing system that anywhere that you are outside of the office, you can access those files. So you can download an app and have it on your computer. You can download an app and have it on your phone. You can log on to Dropbox.com, log in, and all of your files are accessible right there.
We can do it with huge audio or video files. A
Right.
lot of the TV interviews and things we do, that's what we use it for. So you can't possibly store that on just a laptop and like, let me show you all the TV things, right?
Right.
Especially there are a lot of people that we have that'll do like interviews, whether it's, you know, like say NBC4 was interviewing them around Red, White, and Boom or something near a restaurant. You want to keep that stuff so you can use it later, but you can't just store it on like a thumb drive.
No.
You know, it's just too big.
Well, they used to. I mean, I remember carrying around my little USB stick 7-8 years ago that had my whole life on it. Like my resumes, previous work I'd done. And I look back on that, I'm like, that was so risky. If I lose that one little stick, I lose a lot. And Dropbox kind of saved that because now you can upload all your files onto a secured system that's not going anywhere.
When you say secure system, do you have an issue using the cloud? Because it was, remember there was a bunch of people that were getting pictures hacked and all that kind of thing through the cloud, but it wasn't like everyday people. It was like Jennifer Lawrence and people like that. Like,
Right, it was
they're
like
really trying to
high-end
get your
celebrities.
stuff. If you want to look
Listen,
at my
if-
Excel spreadsheets, bro, I'll give them to you.
If you got nudie pics on your Dropbox, that's just your own fault. Like,
Right.
that's just weird.
Right, but the account is free, so just so you know, I mean,
Right.
it's kind of worth it.
If somebody's hacking into your Dropbox, that is way harder to do than somebody getting into your own server.
Right.
Especially if you're a small business. My previous job got held. I mean, cybersecurity is a big thing that has come up a lot too.
Right.
I don't want to get off topic, but my previous job that I was at was a urology clinic, and they had pirates come in and hold all of their patient information.
You mean
hostage.
like I am the captain now?
They
pirates?
showed up on a ship. It was so
That's amazing because
crazy.
you're landlocked.
Yeah. They stole all this stuff, but they couldn't get away. It was so weird.
They were just stuck in an inner tube
Yeah,
with
like,
a bunch of files.
This looks nothing like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But they held all their patient information ransom, and they had to pay a couple $100,000 to get it back.
They had to pay.
Had to pay because otherwise you're losing all your patient information, hundreds of thousands of files. And this happens way more often than you think. I don't know how we got onto stealing information. Pirates, that's right.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that is Dropbox is, there's a bunch of other options out there like Dropbox. That's just one example. And it makes things easier. Why? I mean, at first it can be like one of our clients. When you go in and try to work with somebody on their IT, if they either have a current system or they don't and they're struggling, there's always going to be hiccups that come along. And I think that's the most stressful part is anytime you change something, it's always hard for a client, especially from a technology standpoint. And we converted over all these files to Dropbox, and it was a little difficult at first because you're trying to learn everything out. But now I have clients who are getting ready to go into an appointment, and rather than having to VPN back in to pull up a file or to change something, or if they're in the middle of a conversation with a client, they don't have to go back into their server. They can actually pull it up through an app and show them the exact file they're looking at. So I think it's just creative stuff like that. Some business owners know about that stuff but don't know how to implement it. But I think it's just kind of thinking outside of the normal box with technology. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with it that can really help your business. And just kind of the age that we're in right now.
Well, I think one of the coolest things, again, is I remember starting and you'd have to write down the detail, like here's the client, here's like handwrite it. And then as it went on, you could kind of put it into, I mean, your phone has it'll tell you somebody's street address, their birthday, all that. You can get as detailed as you want. That's why I think those things like Salesforce are important, because I always looked at it this way. Let's say you were at a station and I was going to replace you. The
Easy
full
enough.
account history would be there. I
Yeah.
mean, it would be an easy thing to do because I would just put another one of those with those little Gumby dolls on the desk. It's the decor, pictures of my family, and that's it. But what I always thought was odd is nobody really filled those things out completely. So if you took over an account, you'd be like, well, this guy's name is Bill, and his address is this, and here's the phone number. They weren't fully. I would think as a company, I'd want as much information on every customer, client, patient as I could get, so that if you lose an office manager, you lose somebody that's kind of in your wheelhouse, you're not losing that information.
Right.
There's no reason now to ever lose anything.
No, there really isn't. I mean, especially just in Dropbox alone. I mean, especially with files. But it happens. And that's always scary when you have something that doesn't have a backup system. I mean, like just like your phone. I mean, at first, you remember back in the day, if you had your phone, you had all your contacts, and you had a flip phone. If you lost your flip phone, your contacts were gone.
Oh yeah.
And so then you had to pay Verizon like $5 a month for backup assistant.
Right.
And you would go in and get a new phone, and they would transfer all your contacts over. I've come a long way.
Well, I always think it's odd that you can, I'm still leery of like, here's the phone I've been using for 2 years. I'm going to get a new one. Like when you do the lease option, never lease a phone. But when you do that, it's like, I want to wipe all that off because I'm not really sure what's on it. But I need to make sure it's on this phone first.
Before I clear it.
It's just very strange that everything just kind of automatically ports over to the new thing.
It's in the cloud, baby.
Yeah. Well, or the Dropbox.
It's a lot. Yeah. Same thing.
Just giving a shout out to Dropbox again. For no reason.
Hashtag Dropbox.
Yeah. But again, the technology that you guys are seeing and you're implementing for clients over and over again, you've got to be ahead of that curve.
I think everybody has to. Me and my sister were talking about, she asked me a weird but interesting question. She goes, if you could grow up in an era in life, like there's different eras of like the automobile and then different technologies that come along. We're in an age of technology that it's not going anywhere. So if you're a business owner and you haven't implemented any of that, you at least need to educate yourself on it because it's not going anywhere.
Wait, what era did you pick?
I picked 2018.
Okay.
No, I want to see what it's like 100 years from now with technology. I mean, think about how much Facebook has only been around for what?
12 years?
Yeah. 12 years. That's it. I mean, these phones, like the first iPhone came out 10 years
I think
ago?
around the same time.
Yeah. So in a 10-year span, it's completely changed how we do business. Everything. We're in a really unique space right now with technology, and I think it's in everybody's best interest, business owner, salesperson, no matter what you're in, to learn as much as you can about it because it's only going to keep getting bigger, and at some point you're gonna have to know how to use.
You're gonna have to shape up or ship up.
That's right. It's true though. I mean, there's 80-year-olds that don't know how to work an iPhone that didn't grow up with a cell phone ever. That's what it's going to be like if people don't jump on, even from a business. And why wouldn't you want to do it if it's making your?
You're saying that like you're accusing me.
I'm attacking you, actually. Yeah, physically.
Okay, don't do it on the show. And just since you asked me, I would want to grow up in the Jurassic period.
Ooh,
yeah, because
big
you know
dinosaur.
what I would do? I would invent dog food. Think of the money my family would be worth now.
It's true.
Yeah.
What about Frosty Paws?
First of all, it would be my idea then, not now. Mister, I want to be in this era that you're already in. That's the most boring answer anyone's ever given. When would you want to be? Right here, right now, in this moment. Okay,
yeah,
John.
very present.
Yeah. Okay.
When would you want to
You
be?
wouldn't want to see when cars were first invented?
No.
No, I want to see the new Facebook app.
So you want to, a car comes out and you're 18. You think you're getting a car? You're probably going to be 50
At what
by the
age?
time.
At what age are you talking about? Am I in the 40s and I'm 18 or am I now?
No, you're in the 40s
You know
and
why
you're
I'd
18. You wouldn't be getting a car.
I would have all the cars because I would have invented dog food in the Jurassic period. Why do we have to go through this? This is the dumbest
It
conversation.
is. You started it.
Okay, I just want to say you didn't even bother to ask me, and so I volunteered it. I always ask you.
Madison started it.
I
His
just-
sister started it.
She did
Madison's
start it.
sister started
Yeah.
it.
But you just said in the Jurassic period.
Don't
What
worry
years
about
are
it.
we talking about? Like,
What does it matter? You're not going to be there.
that's
You're living
maybe
in the
that's
now.
my year. Maybe I switch.
You're living in the now, bro. All right, we're going to go to break on that because I'm tired of fighting with you right now. You're
Good.
listening to 101, brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
By the way, that movie sucked.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my! When he's up on top of the roof and he comes down and opens the window with his big giant dinosaur paw.
You know what I thought of? That
Oh, the new Jurassic Park movie?
You saw that thing where the thing drags, and I'm like,
Come on.
did you not this is a spoiler alert if anyone's watching.
Spoiler alert.
When you figure out that the little kid has been remade, and I'm just like, do we need this?
I know.
I like the end where we're just gonna let them all go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. No big deal.
Now they're in L.A.
No, they're all over the world because at the
Oh,
end, the pterodactyls are on top. I forget what building it is, but the tower they're on, they're in France. So
the
You'd
third
want to
one-
be right here, right now. You'd want to be
I would invent something.
Jurassic
I would
period.
invent dog food.
I'd want to be have a lot of money and be around in the 1920s
You'd have
and
to invent
buy up a
something.
bunch of real estate in Southern California.
Nice.
So I'm a
Oh,
billionaire.
that's pretty smart.
That is smart.
So you'd want to be there around 1918 when everything crashed.
Yeah.
If I went back 15 years and invented Facebook.
Yeah.
You can't invent Facebook.
Oh, I can. Totally.
He
You
would
wanna
be
turn
at
the microphone
Harvard
back
suing the
on?
Winklevi.
I'm gonna tell you right now. He would be talking to the Winklevoss twins. And be like,
Yes.
bro, I don't want to steal your idea.
I would change it to the Facebook.
It was already.
I know, I would go
Facebook.
back.
Shout out to Dr.
We should
Ping,
make
the
the
Facebook.
Instagram.
Our
No one's thought of it.
Instagram.
Wouldn't it be great if that website was available?
The
There's
Instagram.
Instagram.com and the Instagram.
Isn't it weird that you can't really go on Instagram.com? Like, have you ever?
Is that the case? You
You
can.
can, but it's weird. Like, you almost have to.
I
use
don't
the
get
app.
on my computer.
What
to
does
look
it
at
shoot you
Facebook.
to? Facebook?
No, it's
Or, I mean,
Instagram, but
like
it's
MySpace?
a weird platform.
Can you upload stuff?
It takes you to the Toys R Us website. And it's,
Toys R
and
Us
it's shut
website.
down.
It's available in Canada.
Sad picture of Jeffrey Giraffe.
Shout out to Jeffrey in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where do you want to go from here? We'll take it home.
About 13 more minutes.
Let's talk about LeBron.
Let's talk about LeBron.
Just kidding.
Let's talk about
The
the NBA for
technology,
13 minutes.
You want to talk about that Instagram TV thing? Have you seen that?
Hmm.
Instagram.
Oh yeah, you can do an
The
hour
Instagram
now.
TV
Yeah,
app?
let's do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even if, oh yeah. Okay, that's it. Why did you sound like a bird?
Ready?
Yes. Welcome back to the 101. Madison, don't ever try to jump on top of that.
Brought to you by Lincoln Wallace.
Yeah.
There we go.
Don't
Thank
mess
you,
up
Jim.
the intro. Don't jump in.
I was just breathing heavy.
We've been doing this show like, I don't know, for over a year, and you decide to jump in.
Sorry.
Far,
I just get really excited.
I get it. We were talking
Too much
about
caffeine.
IT, technology, Jurassic dog food before the break. Now we want to bring it home. And something I asked you during the break is that you heard of Instagram TV. Because it is a new, Instagram's not the newest technology, but it is a new feature. So that's an app that's kind of exploded its growth and has added something else. Do you care to address that?
I'm going to let you take it. I know about Instagram TV, but I don't know. Are you talking about just the long streaming formats where you can do
Oh,
like
so
an
you
hour?
bring it up during the break and like you're an expert
We-
now.
no. You go, hey, have you heard about Instagram TV? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you talking about the long hour
And then I
video?
said, let's do it right back into the show. and
But
you
I
said-
didn't agree that I knew a lot about it.
Oh, great. Thanks. So here's the difficult part, because we were talking about if you go to Instagram.com, like on your computer, it's not the same thing as it is on your phone.
Right.
But the Instagram TV platform, when that launched, like I put a couple of these clips on there because I don't really understand how to put a whole hour show. I can watch my past episodes or what I've uploaded, but I have no idea how somebody else is seeing it.
I need
So-
to research this.
Yeah, but again, it's a brand new platform, and it doesn't cost anything. I mean, Instagram is free. You're feeding it your information. That's what they really want, to sell stuff and have people target you. But I mean for sales, not like bodily harm. But I find that these free apps and things that you can promote your business, or even if you just want to share things that you're doing with your kids, there's really no instruction manual, so it's just launched. But I was thinking, some of our clients do some really cool videos that are more for their website, and they can just start feeding them onto that.
Yep.
For no additional cost. I don't know where you watch it, other than on your phone. And I don't know who's going to watch something on their phone for an hour.
I mean, I watch YouTube videos on my phone for an hour.
That's completely different. YouTube is a completely cool thing to look things up.
Oh.
By the way, if you have time, and I know you have plenty of it,
All of it.
go on YouTube and find something called Safari Live. I've been spending 2 hours at night. It's the most peaceful thing ever.
Safari Live?
Safari
You
Live.
just watch animals live?
Well, there's tour guides.
Ooh.
Yeah. But again, here's what's cool
2
about
hours
this.
at night?
Listen, I don't have a lot going on. I get home and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna
Safari Live.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I have a child. Maybe if you get your life together and have a kid and a family. The point of the Safari Live, though, what I was bringing this up for, is the technology behind it. They're in South Africa, and these guys have earpieces in. So people are on YouTube or they're on Twitter, and they're feeding them questions. But it's an HD camera that they're shooting live, and they're doing the safaris. Whereas before, you'd have to spend $10,000 to have this experience. I'm getting it all for free.
And it's almost like you're there.
Right, and they have 3 different guides going on, but they all have HD cameras. They all have these earpieces, and they're responding to you in South Africa. That's one of the coolest pieces of technology I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for it. My question always comes back to, how does anybody make money with this? How does anyone make money on social media other than you sell a bunch of products like you said, protein powders or something like that?
Now, how does Instagram make money, or how does
Well, how does anybody? I know that there are people who are YouTube. What do they call them? YouTubers that make money. They're just, they put videos out. We actually know a guy that was doing that, and some of it's like menus and diets and all that. And he was getting paid by YouTube, but they've changed how they monetize that.
Right. Of course they did.
But I always think about it like, if you had to put out content, it doesn't always have to be about money. Sometimes it's just about educating. Like, we have all these tools to teach someone how to do something or what your business is about, and then people want to pay to promote it. Whenever I see a sponsored post, I skip by it because I want people to know, I am protesting this. There's no reason. You could have done that for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That's what's, Instagram's so interesting because they're all of it's free, but then you have the option to push out that content to other people, right? Just similar to Facebook. Yeah. It's just what I find. It's just so hard to track it. I mean, I could pay
track who's watching it.
Well, okay. So if you're spending money on Google, and all you're trying to do is get people to your website, when people come to your website. You know how many people came, when they came, how long they were there, which pages they were on, and it actually gives you hard evidence and information that you can use. Because then you can compare that to the next month, or you can compare it day by day. Let's say I spent $100 on Instagram. Yeah, it might show you this many people viewed it, or you got this many likes, but there's really no way to see.
Well, there's no revenue growth that you can attribute to it.
Right.
Which I always think is weird. There's another guy that does like what you do, and he has these sponsored posts.
Awesome.
No, because that's not what you do. He has these sponsored posts where I'm just like, what is the point? What are you trying to get someone to do? Like, I think it's more like an ego stroke, like, I know what I'm doing, and here's how many people think that.
It's backwards. If you have, this is why Instagram annoys me. If you have 40,000 followers, all of a sudden you have credibility. No, right. You don't.
I love the accounts at 16.8 thousand people or whatever on there. But when you see their posts, you open it and it's like 13 people, or even if it's 2,000, that's still not that many people.
I know somebody that promotes their personal page.
Andrew.
Yeah, he might actually.
He's not listening.
Her name's Rachel.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's ridiculous.
It's constant.
No.
Like my Instagram.
Follow me.
I'm a big deal.
No, but somebody promotes their personal page, pays for people. Yeah, I swear.
You mean like, here's who I am as a human being?
Follow me, and I'm gonna pay for people.
Give me that name.
I can't.
We're gonna have them on the show.
I can't do it. But
is
yeah,
it Jennifer
that's what
Glowsticking?
No, she's in the state of Denver. They don't allow that there. It just annoys me because just because you have 40,000 followers does not give you credibility.
No,
it doesn't, because those can be bought. You don't know how real those are. Like you said, you could have 40,000 followers and you post a picture and you get 102 likes. So you mean to tell me that 39,900?
They just missed it. They just missed it that hour.
Right. But there also is, there's definitely, Instagram has a platform. It's made people a lot of money. You can, if you use it in the right way. I really like what, River Park Dental does. That's their outlet to show their creative side and their fun-loving side and create videos and show who they are as a business, right, without having to get too serious and say, hey, for $280 you can come buy this product. It's just top-of-mind awareness. When you see those videos, it makes you laugh, it makes you smile. I think that's doing Instagram right for what their business is. But
I think one of the advantages is they are, as a staff, as a newer business, but it's also, they are all kind of, they've all had that access to that technology.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at it, if you and I would have looked at this 10 years ago, it would have been a television commercial. And then we would have put like a Hyundai in the background. And you'd be like, yeah, buy this Hyundai.
Yay!
And now they're just doing it to show, like, here's what we did today to be different.
Right.
Which is why I think this technology has, in all these apps, if you use them the right way, it can be a big deal. You don't have to have a big budget to do this.
You don't have to have a budget.
No, but you have to have some kind of creativity. You can't just go, hey, you know what we're going to do? Like you showed me that Odell Beckham Jr. dancing in the middle of the street, but millions of people looked at that thing. He didn't pay to promote it. Just look at what I did.
Well, and that was my point earlier when I said not just business owners, everybody has to keep up with technology because that's not going anywhere. I mean, 2 years ago, I don't even think Facebook Live was a thing. Now we're on it, using it every day.
Yeah. And
But-
people love it.
Yeah.
People love when we're on Facebook.
Oh, I know
I think
they
it's the
do.
only
They
reason
eat
it's
it up.
there. Thank you, Zuck.
Yep. Thanks, bro.
Good friend of mine. But you know where I learned a lot about like topics that we're going to talk about is it's a lot of it's on YouTube. There are other people that are a lot of it is people with podcasts, which we have the advantage that this is on our radio station, but it's also on YouTube. So it's just adding one more element to it. However, we're able to all of this doesn't cost anything. So it doesn't cost us to put it on Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to think where else we put it. Bus signs, wherever it might be. We're able to promote this, and most of the time, it's not you and I talking. It's a guest.
Right.
We want to talk about their business. They can share it to every follower that they have. And again, it costs no money to do it.
Right. Well, I think that's what makes what you do and Rachel and Morris Media is that you
I
guys...
just say me.
Just you, yeah. Rachel's not here anyway.
I mean, she's here.
Yeah, she's not present.
Yeah.
You guys, when I first met you, I noticed right away that you took full advantage of all those platforms because they're free.
Yeah.
Right? Like when we did the show, it was immediately on Instagram, it was on Facebook, it was on LinkedIn. And at first you're like, you know, who's that really reaching? But then once you do it consistently and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, people almost, hey, it's this day, I'm going to see this. And people track that stuff and it becomes a part of stuff they do. And I think that's you thinking creatively and be like, I'm going to push everything that I do through all these platforms because it's free.
And you never know who likes it or who takes interest in it. But, you know, it's like when we're in the parking lot getting rained out last night, and there's a bunch of guys I've played ball with for years, and they're like, they'll say, you know, when I'm bored, I watch your show. And I'm like, you must be bored a lot on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But again, Dustin, I appreciate you watching. But it's things like that where you never
I'm
know.
bored, I watch your show.
Seriously.
When nobody texts me back, I want to hang out with
That's
you.
the kind of friends that I have where they don't really say a complimentary thing like, you're not as ugly as you should be. Like, that's the kind of friends, you know?
Yeah.
But they are watching. They might not listen to it on the weekend, but they're hearing it now.
Right.
But again, it's taking one thing and putting it out 6 different versions, and it didn't cost us any money.
Mhm.
All we're trying to do is share it and bring other people on, like our guest who didn't come today.
Yep.
No offense. Sure, we'll get you before 2020. But it's to promote them. And like I said, when we started just hanging out with you, just having coffee, this is to share this stuff, this information, different viewpoints, and new businesses, because that's the backbone of the economy is entrepreneurs making something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Eventually, you're either going to sell it to somebody else if it gets big enough, or you're going to go out of business. Somewhere in between there, you should get your word out and you should have fun doing it. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what makes this so, it's exciting to come in and talk about business and then to meet other business owners and to see their ups and their downs and their struggles and to laugh and actually.
And to laugh at their struggles.
Right, that's the best part, to
Yeah.
make fun of them.
We need more of those.
We do.
Yeah.
More struggling people.
We need more people to be like, and then I signed a 3-year contract with someone I never met.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is. And then we high five them and just
Yeah.
keep moving.
Like, it's not going to work out. Bye.
Yeah.
Bing.
She, was that
I
another
I meant
pun?
to say bing, not ping.
Yeah, I think she was just signing autographs when she did some of that
Yeah.
stuff.
But you know what? She has her radio show. And there was a family of 4 that came in this morning and said they'd love to listen to her show.
It's awesome.
From a person that does not want to talk about dentistry. It's only a half an hour show, and she refuses to talk about dentistry. So we just talk about anything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
good for her. Ping's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's all worked out. Well, let's not say that. Do you have any parting words of wisdom? Because we're about out of time for this week. And I would like to say, we really rallied the troops today because we were supposed to have a guest. Technically, Juan Thomas was the guest. He popped in a couple times.
Yep.
So I feel good about what we
Yeah,
did today.
yeah, I do too. We threw out a lot of information.
Yeah, and I'm going to have Rachel listen to the whole thing and transcribe it.
And did you hear what happened last Sunday?
What happened last?
LeBron went to the Lakers.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Yay, sports!
Yay, sports.
That's gonna be it
Sorry.
for 101. I can't take it anymore. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
By next week, we'll know who's in the World Cup final.
Yep.
Yay, sports!
Yay, sports.
Yay,
I
France!
think
Are
so.
there-
Go
is it down to the
England!
last four?
Yeah, France just made the finals, and now it's Croatia
And Croatia and England play this afternoon.